Hi guys, welcome to my channel and welcome back to my channel if you are a returning viewer, and if you're new, thank you for clicking on this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe, like, and of course comment as well. It helps this channel out as well. Welcome back to another story time with the Holy Spirit. This episode, which is episode 2, is going to be all about friendship, betrayal, and how the Holy Spirit led me out of something that was very deceptive and very crazy, to be honest. Like, without the Lord in this situation, in this story, you would have seen that I would have probably fell into something really crazy. But when I think about how God has led me out of what I went through, I know the Lord is with me. So without giving away too much, I'm going to start the story by saying that I'm not going to give away the real names. I'm just going to use fake names, and you guys will get the gist of what the story was like and how the Lord led me out of it, and truly the lesson I learned, and hopefully the lesson teaches you guys about what it was that I went through. So I traveled to Nigeria, and I was traveling to visit a friend, and also, so one thing I want to explain that I didn't actually say in the video is that I actually traveled to Nigeria for ministry, and my friend's church invited me as well. So it was more so of an obligation to go, because I actually said, okay, I'll show up. Or to just, visit family as well. And I was visiting a close friend, and let's say her name is Lou. So this friend Lou, she was someone that I was really close with. She was really fun. I loved the way she is. When you just speak to a friend, you're like, wow, this is home. This was her. And she was married, and her husband, let's call him Ola. And Ola and Lou were just amazing people, and I just thought that, wow, I just can't wait to meet you. And bear in mind, I had never met her before. We speak on the phone, really just like, she used to just warm my spirit. I used to be one of those people that when I'm going down, when I'm having one of those days, she'll not only send me a Bible verse, but she will literally pray for me. She was very much one of those friends, like, that she will literally cover you in prayer, and she will do it even though she has children, even though she has a husband. She'll give you that time. And Lou was, I loved her. I gave her so much, in terms of myself, and when she needed me, I was there as well. So I was traveling to Nigeria, and I wanted to meet her in person for the first time, also meet her husband and everything. Side note for a moment, before I went to Nigeria, Lou had told me that one of her friends, well, her husband's friend, he actually liked me. He wanted me to, he wanted to get to know me. And at the time when she told me, I said no. I said respectfully, no. I don't want to, I don't want to entertain anything, and I don't want to give any wrong impressions. But she was like, Femi is this, he's that, and she was listing so many things, and she was trying to sell him to me. And I was saying, unfortunately, I'm just not interested. And with me, it's like, when I'm not interested, I'm just not interested. It wasn't anything in particular. It's just my spirit. My spirit wasn't aligning, and it was just no. And when I knew this, I told this to Lou, and I said to her, I'm not interested, and I hope when I go to Nigeria, you don't try and set me up with him. And I said to her, we're inviting the Holy Spirit in this conversation. Lou, please don't try and set me up with him. I just want to meet you, your husband, and your family. That's about it. I don't want any type of thing. And she was like, no, my sister, why would I do that to you? We are sisters now. We are sisters. I love the fact that she said that. I was like, yes, girl, we are sisters. Sisters do not betray each other. So my mind was on lock. I was like, yeah, she's not going to do that. Throw it away. Okay, I'm going to Nigeria now. So now I'm going to Nigeria. On the plane, I go to where I need to go, and I get to the airport. Well, I noticed this, someone came out to come and get me. It was a short guy, and he was their driver, and he came to me and he said, oh, hello, are you Deborah? And I said, yeah, I'm Deborah. Where is Lou? Where's Ola? Where are they? He was like, oh yeah, they're in the car, because they came with their baby, so they just went waiting in the car. I know, I'm gonna come and get you. So the driver took me to the car, and I thought, okay, that's nice. He walks me all the way to the car, and we walked all the way around in the main road to their car, and we got to the car. But then when I got to the car, it seemed like Lou was a bit awkward and everything, and I was wondering why is she awkward, because we literally just spoke on the phone just before I entered the plane. So I was just wondering girl, what's going on? And it was very visible that she was very awkward, and I was really unsure why she was awkward. I even asked her, I was like, oh hey sis, you seem really awkward. She's like, yeah, I'm just excited to see you. I'm just excited. Okay, all right. And bear in mind, Lou's very extroverted. I'm more of a reserved type of, you know, person, but she's very loud in terms of like opinionated, very, her voice is very loud, sort of thing. So she's naturally not that type of person to be awkward. So I was a bit surprised. She was holding a baby, and I thought, oh, let me hold your son, like he's so cute. So I was holding him and everything. And then but then I got hungry when it was in the car because it was hot outside. I hadn't eaten in a long time. The playing field was okay, but it wasn't great. So we went to a restaurant. So the driver took us to the restaurant, and this is where it got a bit strange. So, you know, we got out of the car, we went to really a nice restaurant, like almost like a you know, you go up the stairs and it's like a rooftop type of vibe. The restaurant was so beautiful, really, really nice. One thing I noticed is that they seemed like they knew the people there at the restaurant, which I guess is normal if it's your like local area and everything. But then I noticed the driver also came with us, and he sat with us. And I don't know, in Nigeria it's interesting because when people are your drivers, yeah, they're your housekeepers and things like that, they don't usually sit with you. I've just noticed that's just the culture that we have. Like, they don't usually sit with you and integrate. They usually allow you to sit on your side and they will sit on theirs. But the driver was sitting with us, and I thought, okay, that's amazing. Like, you know, they don't really treat him any differently. So it was the driver sitting opposite me, it was Ola sitting opposite my friend was sitting next to me. So it was all four of us sitting next together. And I noticed that the driver was like sorry guys, I'm just starting to remember the story. The driver was like, in a way, kind of controlling, not controlling, but he was giving strong suggestions of what to buy. So he was like, oh, we're gonna get the coffee, we're gonna get this, we're gonna get that, and they just seemed to like go with it. And I was like, okay, it's kind of strange. And even the food, he was like, oh, what do you want to eat? The husband didn't ask me, my friend didn't ask me, the driver did. So like, he said, so what do you want to eat? And I was like, oh, I'm feeling rice or something. He opened the menu and he said, okay, this one's really good. So he picked it and he said, okay. Then he said, okay, I'll order it for you. And I said, oh, this driver's really nice, thank you so much. And bear in mind, I don't know the driver from anywhere, but he's been very, very nice. Okay, so guys, I don't think I put this information in there, but basically the driver's name was Ade. So when I first met him in the airport, when he came to pick me up from outside, I asked him, hi, what's your name? Because he said he's like our driver, and he said, oh, my name's Ade. So this is the driver's name. His name is Ade. So Ade was being very friendly at the restaurant that was a rooftop, and he was kind of like taking charge in terms of what we were ordering and what we were eating, and he knew the restaurant itself already. So the driver was like being very friendly and everything. So when the waiter came, he was ordering for us, he opened the menu and he was like, get them this, get them that. And of course I was looking around and I was like, I was okay with it, but of course in the back of my mind I said, okay, what's actually going on here? So then the food came maybe a few moments later, and what's interesting is that we were eating, and I don't know if it's because, you know, when you're in Nigeria you just want to drink a lot, you just want to, you know, because it's so hot, you just want to drink, you don't want to eat as much. And you know, as I was eating the food and I was kind of eating it slowly and eating it slowly and eating it slowly, I looked up with the spoon in my hand, and I looked up like, and I heard the Holy Spirit say to me, it's him. And I said, God. I said, hold up, but you are telling me it's the guy isn't Femi, the one that likes me and everything. Then why is he saying his name is Ade, the driver? And I'm not going to lie to you, when I had this impression and I heard the voice of the Lord, I kind of brushed it away, because I was saying, surely not. Like, I had this conversation with Lou, I told her, like, you know, I don't want to meet anybody else, like, and if that is the case, that means she would have lied. So I kind of just protected my heart towards her, and I said, you know what, God, you know, I don't think this is the case. That was a mistake. The reason why it was a mistake is because after the restaurant, we had kind of like a dispute, in a way, like a disagreement. They didn't want me to stay in a hotel, and I was like, no, I'm staying in a hotel, because I was with them, and I was by myself as well. So you can imagine that I was with them by myself. They didn't want me to stay in a hotel, and I said, okay, so where am I staying? And then they said, yeah, you're gonna stay in apartment complex where we have. And I said, hold on a minute. I said, excuse me, I'm in Nigeria. I would rather stay in a hotel where I know everything's okay. And when they told me this, I was texting my friend. My friend actually lives in Nigeria, and I said to her, sis, like, is this normal? She said, Deborah, like, come on now, stay in a hotel. Like, don't be like, you know, stay in a hotel. And they weren't like, you know, they weren't budging. Lou and Ola, they were not budging. They're like, no, stay in that apartment. So I stayed in the hotel the first night, and they put me in an apartment the second night. I feel like that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. So when we got to the hotel, I slept in the hotel, slept with Lou. It was really good, it was fun, you know, we just ate some food and stuff like that, had some snacks. And then the next day we went to an apartment, and I noticed that even when we went before we went to the apartment, I noticed that when we were in the hotel, the driver and the husband, they entered the room to check in on us at like really late at night. And I was like, okay, this is really interesting. And of course, everything God had told me before, I had brushed it away, right? So I was just like, okay, let me just stay focused. So essentially I went to the apartment they wanted to give to me, and I went there, and I went to this apartment, and this apartment looks really crazy. I'm not saying in a way where, like, you know, the apartment was dirty or anything, but I just had a strange off feeling. Like, you know, when you enter a place and your spirit just feels uncomfortable, like you just look around and you're saying, I shouldn't be here. Like, you just get that very strange like feeling, like really strange feeling. That's how I felt as I was walking in. And I was even like, you know, the driver has shown me the bed, like, because he was the one who drove us. Me at this point, my husband wasn't with us, so it was just me, Lou, and the driver. He drove us to the apartment, and he said, oh, this is your room. So he was showing us around, and I remember thinking, it seems like the driver knows this apartment. It seems like he knows this apartment, as in he knows the rooms and everything. So I was a bit like, okay. And when I felt this uncomfortable feeling, both Ade and Lou were still in the apartment. They were just trying to sort things out with, you know, the church that we were going to. And I felt uncomfortable, and I didn't know how to address it. I did eventually, but I'll get there. So when Ade showed me my room, the driver, I had the room. I went into the room, and Ade and Lou was going. So my friend and Ade were leaving, and they were going. I think they had to go for a job. They had to do something, so they left me in the house. They left me in the apartment. And then when they left me in the apartment, so when I was in the room, I was hearing the most weirdest sounds. Like, I was hearing that someone was on walking. I was hearing cracks. I was hearing the wind shut the door, slam the door outside. I was hearing so many different weird sounds, as if I was in a horror movie. So I put my suitcase behind the door, because I was thinking, okay, if somebody's in here, at least they won't have access to me, like, you know. And when I was in the apartment and I was in the room and I put my suitcase on the door, I was getting so tired. But this tiredness wasn't like sleepy. I was getting drowsy, like as if something was in the atmosphere. I was getting so drowsy, like super drowsy. And I was like dozing in and out of like sleep. And bear in mind, when I was feeling like this, I was texting my friend, I'm texting my mom, because my mom was in Nigeria, but she was in another city. Because I had flown, not with her, but we flown at the same time to Nigeria. And I was texting her saying, I feel like this and everything. And she was like, where are you? And I said, I'm in an apartment. She said, why are you in an apartment? Why are you not in a hotel? And tell them that you want to stay somewhere else. When this happened, and this is exactly what my friend said, when this happened, I was just thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to have to call the driver. And the driver had given me his number before he left, saying, if you need anything, if you want to leave or something like that, just give me a call. So I called the driver and I said, oh, hey driver, And guys, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I was visiting my friend, but they couldn't accommodate me in their own house because they didn't have space. So this is why I was jumping around from different places to places. So you might be thinking, oh, I visited a friend but I'm not staying with her. It's because they didn't actually have the space to accommodate me, and they didn't want me to stay in their house, which is another interesting story as well, because I was more than happy to stay in their house. But this is why I was in the apartment and in the hotel at the same time. So after this situation, and I felt really drowsy, going back to the story, I said I can't stay here. Like, my mind was almost as if it was getting heavy, and I was feeling so strange. And I had eaten that morning, so it wasn't that I was like fasting or anything. It just felt like something was in the atmosphere. So then I called, I called the driver and I said, hey, like, I'm not staying here. Like, can you take me to a hotel, because this is really crazy. I feel really tired. Please and respectfully. Like, I was trying to be as respectful as possible. So then my friend didn't come with him. The driver came by himself, and he came with a new car, like a different car. And I was wondering, like, what's happening here? And then he explained to me when he came and picked me up that, oh, he's a car salesman or something like that. I was thinking to myself, why are you changing your car every 2 days? Every moment why are you changing your car like this? I don't understand. But anyway, so when he picks me up, we were driving. So I was in the passenger seat and he was obviously driving. And I'm still doing my phone like this now. We're off the phone now. And he was driving to the new location of the hotel. So when we got to a new hotel, which he didn't tell me which one we're going to, he got out of the car. He said, stay in the car. I said, okay. So I'm going to get your room. I said, excusez-moi. Kiloche. Every language that I can think of that can relate to what I was thinking, I was going through my head. I said, I said to him, no, I'm not going to stay in the car. I'll come with you. He said, stay in the car. I said, no, I'm not staying in the car. I'm going to come with you. It's the room I'm going to stay in. You're telling me to stay in the car. I don't know if it's a Nigerian thing, but in my head I was thinking, but you're the driver. Like, not even in a demeaning way. I was thinking, like, what's going on here? So then went into the hotel. We went to the reception, and she was like, okay, you want a room? They gave me, and they said double bed and everything, blah blah. Sorted out all the details, and then the receptionist said, oh, there's like 2 or 3 options. And then he said to the lady, she's gonna pick which one she wants. And I was like, okay. So we went upstairs with like my small suitcase, because I had like I think about 2 suitcases, one big one, small one. And as I was going upstairs, the driver was behind me, and I was a bit confused as to why he was behind me. Like, I was thinking, is he gonna be the one picking my rooms for me? Like, I don't understand. So we went into the first room. Well, he did, and he was looking around and seeing if it was okay. And then I was thinking to myself, hold on a minute, shouldn't I be doing this? Because he told me to stay outside, and I didn't feel comfortable. I was feeling such an uncomfortable feeling in my spirit, like I don't even know how to describe it. And then he told me, do you like this one? At this point, I hadn't even viewed the room properly, and I said, yeah, I do. And then he said, okay, I'll get your suitcases. So he came out of the room, went downstairs, and he got my big suitcases. So when he was downstairs, I remember that there was 2 rooms. I went to the second one, the one he didn't go to, because I said I like that one, right? The first one. I went to the one that he didn't go to, and I went into the room, and I saw the man who also works in the hotel, and I said, excuse me, sir, I want to take this room. Because I don't want other one. And he said, oh, you don't want the one that we just showed you? I said, no, I want this one. So I went into the room, I took my small suitcase, and I shut the door. So when I was out, and I was trying to be attentive to my suitcase coming upstairs, because the hotel wasn't that busy. So when I could kind of gauge when someone was coming upstairs, because you can hear what's going on from outside in your room. So when I was gauging if anyone was upstairs, I opened my door, and I opened it, and I looked to the side, and I said, oh, hello, yeah, I'm staying in this room. And he said, oh, you're staying in this room? I said, yes, I am. So he brought my suitcase, and I grabbed my suitcase out of his hand, and I shut the door, because it seemed like he wanted to enter the room, and I was thinking, excuse me, sir. So I just took my suitcase and shut the door. And at this point, I was just a bit like, what's actually going on here? Because why is the driver being over familiar? So then So then I had church with my friends, family, and my friend, she's a pastor, and also her husband's a pastor. So I was going to the church, and when I got there, the driver was picking me up before I got there. So guys, this story is very spiritual, and this is, you know, just to pause for a moment, it's very important for us to know how to speak in tongues, to gauge when someone is trying to manipulate us, and to also gauge when something is not right, to really have strong discernment. Because I'm going to be honest with you, if I didn't have discernment in any capacity, God knows what would have happened to me, and what they could have manipulated in my spiritual atmosphere.